All right, well, it's finally time to get the Perrin turbo inlet installed into the WRX, and then also at the same time, I'm going to install the Perrin throttle body coupler to the intercooler. So I got that as well. Got some new gaskets here for this, which I believe, so this part number is the one for the charge pipe to turbo gasket, but I believe it's the same. So we're gonna figure that out shortly. And then I got a exhaust gasket too that I'll probably do since the car will be on jack stands. But yeah, so the hood's popped already. So pretty simple to start with. Since I'm doing the throttle body coupler as well and kind of chasing a few boost leaks here and there, we're gonna start by popping this guy off here. We're gonna take out the intercooler, we'll take off the charge pipe, and once we've got all of that off and out, we'll go ahead and get the car up on jack stands and start working underneath it. So before I put it on jack stands here, the first thing we did is we got the battery disconnected. After disconnecting the battery, I went ahead and loosened the coupler on the charge pipe up here and the coupler over there for the intercooler on the throttle body. And we got the intercooler out, and then we got the fan out as well, which is just two 10 millimeters and a plug down below there, which is really easy to do. So one of the big problems that I'm having right now, which caused me to actually do a lot of this work, is whenever I start up the car on a cold start, I'm getting like this huge cloud of blue smoke. Which the charge pipe that I had prior to installing that one, which I just installed that one recently, and the air oil separator, I thought had holes in it because it was a really cheap charge pipe and I saw it wearing, but I took it off, didn't see holes, but I tossed it anyways because it was just a cheap POS. So I installed the AOS and this guy here. The smoking that helped with a little bit, but for how much I drove, the amount of oil that's in the intercooler is pretty substantial. If you can see it, I'm gonna kind of dump it out here carefully so it doesn't get all over the place. But yeah, so there's a lot of oil there, which not supposed to be there. So I am thinking that my turbo seals are shot. Either that or there was something with the boost control solenoid as well. Down there, when I was doing a test drive, I had a hose pop off on the boost control solenoid. So that might play a little bit of a part in that oil, but I don't know for sure. So we're gonna get the car up on jack stands now, and there's only one way to find out if the Turbski is bad or not, and that's gonna be to take the turbo inlet off. So we are going to get it up on jack stands and get that turbo inlet off, and once we do that, we can get a closer look at the turbo and go from there. So you probably can't see all the way down there in the turbo. Well, maybe you can a little bit at the top of it right there, but yeah, that's definitely a puddle of oil sitting on the top of the turbo. Great. Now let's dig into it a little further. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on video, but I just popped off the coupler to my intake, and yeah, this is that's what I got. Great. Keep going. Keep going. A ton of oil already came out. Let's see what else we got up in here. Okay. So everything that was in there drained out. which was a lot. But I'm gonna get this turbo inlet off and see more from there. So to get the turbo inlet off, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop off the splash guard with these. I got a couple of these and I'm pretty sure are bent from the last time I put this on, but story for another day. So I'll go ahead and pop these guys off here, and then once I get those popped off, we're gonna go ahead and start taking the turbo inlet off here. It's just two 10mm bolts, one there and one back there. So I got some extension. It looks like we got plenty of room in here to work, so let's get that off. All right, well, now we're up here to the turbo a bit more. And just oil just dripping right onto my face. Oof. So anyways, yeah, so that's what we're working with, and obviously looks like bad turbo. Look at the fins. Boom. Boom. So I'm trying to look at all that oil coming out of there. I'll get my pen. Oil everywhere on the ground. But spinning it backwards here a bit. Look at all that oil just coming out of it. So I don't feel shaft play. Right there. I don't feel any shaft play. But I don't know. We'll see what we do from here. I'm thinking new turbo. But stay tuned to see if I finish installing the turbo inlet or not, I guess. Might just do it just to start the car up and see what happens. Go from there. We'll see. Alright, so came back down, just kind of messing with it a little bit more, and I think I found the shaft play. See the fins over there moving? So yeah, I'm definitely gonna say that it's a bust. It is what it is. The car just hit 90,000 miles not too long ago. I kind of knew the turbo was starting to go because I was starting to get blue smoke at a cold start, and it started to get a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. And then I was in a drive-through getting some coffee the other day, just waiting to get up to the window, and the car just started smoking at idle. So I thought the air oil separator would help, but I didn't get down this far to the turbo. This was the first time I've gotten this far to the turbo to install the new inlet. But with honestly what I'm seeing here, I think she's gonna sit for a little while, in all honesty, until I can get a new turbo. So I think I'm just gonna kind of button this up here a bit for now, and we'll come back to this when I get a new turbo. And I don't know if I'm gonna take it to a shop to have them do it, because I really don't want to deal with having to pull off the headers. It just doesn't look like something I really want to get into. I did the J-pipe already, and in all honesty, I don't mind having to get a new turbo. It just kind of sucks. I don't want to have to spend the money on it right now if I don't have to. But if you could see this is the J-pipe right here. This has been like this for a couple years now, because when we did the J-pipe, we broke a bolt in the turbo, and then we just had to drill it out, and we didn't retap it. We just stuck a bolt through it and put a nut on the back side. So, and it's held for quite a while, as you can see. But I honestly really just don't want to deal with having to get all of these bolts back off again on the J-pipe, and having to deal with getting everything off here on this side on the header, and everything over here on this side. Like, I almost want to just put the new inlet on so it's on and get it all hooked up, so that way I can kind of like limp the car to a shop if I end up taking it to a shop and not have to get it towed, even though I have AAA. Questions. I don't know. Guess we'll find out in a bit. So I just ended up going ahead and saying screw it. I'm going to continue with the install of the Perrin turbo inlet. That way everything's just on for whenever it comes time to get the turbo swapped out, in case I end up taking it to a shop or a mechanic or somebody to do it, or if I do it myself. I'm not sure yet, we'll see. But I can also go ahead and get this cut as well to the correct length for the cob intake, and kind of get everything buttoned up as if it was all put together. I'll probably start it today too, just to get some of the oil to blow out and see what happens. But yeah, so I got the inlet on. The gasket for the turbo inlet is a different gasket than the charge pipe, so just a heads up. If you buy that new gasket, different part number, so you know. Other than that, the two supplied M6 bolts, and then it also came supplied with an M5 Allen key as well that you can use. It doesn't give torque specs in the direction, so I'd say just obviously, you know, torque it down to tight, and then just a little bit more. Just be careful obviously not to strip out your turbo. So anyways, we'll finish tightening this up, and then we are going to get all of the fittings onto here. My boost controller is a Grimspeed boost controller, and it's just dangling right here. We're gonna work on getting that set up once I get the inlet and everything all up, because we'll have to kind of get this, not necessarily modified, but we'll have to zip tie it up a bit so it stays stable on this new inlet, since it doesn't take the plastic tapping screws for the new silicone Perrin inlet. So let's continue with that, and we'll see you here again in a bit. All right, well, this is where I am so far. So we got the inlet on. Good old thanks FedEx driver, appreciate it. Really appreciate the noise. Anyways, so we got the new inlet on. We did cut the inlet for the cob. It's coming all the way down to here, so I will probably end up cutting more off. I've got a T-bolt clamp on that, but as you could hear, it's kind of hitting, so I don't really like that, so I'll have to fix that eventually. But I really just wanted to get this buttoned up so I can get the car started at least and see what's going to happen. That was the only thing I had to cut. I do have a Boomba bypass valve. I did not have to cut where the bypass valve goes in, thankfully, which is nice. And then here on the boost control solenoid, I do have a hose clamp on it, and to be honest with you, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Some people put zip ties on it just to make sure it's gonna stay, but that's in there solid. So yeah, made sure all these lines didn't have any kinks or anything like that in there. And then I gotta get the rest of these lines on. They supplied hose clamps for these. Debating on whether or not I'm gonna put them on right now or not. We'll see. I'll probably throw them on there because I believe I did have one on there to begin with. I don't remember. Not that one. I don't think I did, but oh well, they supplied them, so we'll throw those on and finish tightening down the charge pipe coupler up there and get the charge pipe and intercooler back on, and then I'm gonna work on the Perrin throttle body coupler when I get that back on. And I'm going to start the car up today to at least get some of that oil that's sitting on top of the cold side of the turbo out, hopefully, if it does. And that way I can also see if some of the boost leaks, or if it was even boost leaks that I was having, was gone. I'm also gonna clean the MAF sensor and the map sensor, since the car's turned off right now and it's got to relearn anyways. So I'll get those cleaned up too, and yeah, we'll see. So stay tuned. We're gonna get this all buttoned up down here, and we'll do a little more filming up top on some stuff, and then we'll definitely film it when I start it up so you can see the big old plume of smoke that'll come out the back. We'll be right back up top. All right, well, we're back up top. So we're gonna go ahead. I got everything for the most part buttoned up down there. You can probably still see a puddle of oil on top of the turbo, but I'm gonna try to just blow it out when I start the car up. See what happens. Get a new turbo eventually, but for now it is what it is. I have to fix that down there. Kind of looks a little kinked, but we'll take a look at that here in a bit. no big deal. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and change out this right here. This is gonna be the coupler for the throttle body to the intercooler. So there's the Perrin one sitting right there. I'm gonna go ahead and pop off this hose clamp right back here that's connected to the throttle body. And once I get that off, I can pop that off and get that new one on and kind of wiggle it around to get it into the right place. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. So we got that guy popped off there. Of course, a bunch of oil came out, as you can see right here. So I gotta get that cleaned up a bit. So I don't know, I haven't looked in here yet, so I haven't seen in there. Hopefully there's not a bunch of oil in there on the throttle body, but we'll see. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that new coupler on, and after I get this oil spill cleaned up, and continue the process. So that's on. I don't have a hose clamp on it yet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get the charge pipe in right now first. Once I get the charge pipe in, I'm gonna try to just kind of mock install the intercooler to make sure that I get this coupler in the right spot. And then once I get this coupler in the right spot, I'll carefully remove the intercooler again, and then get this clamp back here put on the throttle body, and we'll get that tightened down, and then we'll get the other one just slid on here, and we can reinstall the intercooler for good. And we'll be getting a bit closer. All right, intercooler's back in, new Perrin couplers in, the Perrin turbo inlet's in. We got the MAF sensor clean, which is on your intake, and we got the MAP sensor clean, which is on your intake manifold. So this one definitely had some oil on it. Not surprised, being that obviously my turbo's bad, and spraying up oil through my charge pipe into my turbo through here and then burning and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know, but we'll get that fixed. I went ahead, like I said, and just reassembled it all. More so being that I did have to cut that turbo inlet. It's not the best cut, but it works. Probably could cut it back a little bit more. So everything's tightened, that's all cleaned. I'm going to get the battery hooked back up right now, and once I have the battery hooked back up, I'm gonna start it. And I'm just gonna keep it on jack stands when I start it, so that way I can kind of come back over here and listen for leaks and whatnot. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get that battery hooked back up, and we'll start her up and see what happens. All right, well, we'll see what happens. The battery's been unplugged for a while, so I mean, it's gonna be a little bit of a rough start just because of that. But show you the smoke, and we'll see if we have any leaks and just kind of go from there. Let's come over here and get her primed and started. I'm gonna have to just run to the back whenever I get it started so you can see what I'm talking about. So we got everything tightened up. Never seen that one before. That's new. Like literally never seen that happen before, but whatever. All right, well, wait till this car pulls out because it's gonna probably be pretty smoky. Get the access port on too really quick. All right, well, here we go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my turbo's bad, and that's the problem right there that it's happening. But I'll come over here and whew, smell that. Check her out for some leaks. It's crazy. You could actually hear, the oil in the turbo almost because of the intake. Like it's sucking a little bit, but everything else is tight. Honestly, I'm just gonna let it kind of sit here for a bit, kind of burn some of this out, because what else am I gonna do? But yeah, she's pretty bad, smoking pretty bad. I mean, you can still see it all going. When it gets up to operating temperature, it'll kind of calm down a bit. So I'll keep it running, let it warm up and do its thing, and I'll see, you know, if it's kind of stopped, and I'll show you. But as far as I'm concerned, it ain't gonna stop. So what I'm probably gonna do right now, honestly, is I'm gonna go ahead and just get under it again, check for additional leaks and everything, and then once I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and put the plate back on, and then get it off of jack stands so it's flat, and then once it's flat, I might go out and just take it around the block really quick to see if it's boosting correctly like it should be. I don't know if it will or not. You know, obviously we got pretty big problems with the turbo, so but we'll see. Give it a shot. I really need to get it to a car wash. It's so filthy and just kind of embarrassing even sitting here. Had a lot of ash and smoke the last couple weeks, so she is just filthy. And then for me just leaning all over it, working on it and all that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of the life of living in an apartment working on a car, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna get her shut off here, and yeah, then I'll after I check for leaks and everything, and go from there. All right, well, I'm in my car. I'm in the WRX. We're driving it, even with a bad turbo, but it's running. She smoked a bit. Took her to the car wash to rinse her off, and just kind of kept her at idle while I was there. Just blow some of the smoke out, see if it starts smoking again. It started smoking a little bit again, but not as much as I kind of expected it to. So being that the battery, you know, I had the battery disconnected, it's kind of trying to having to relearn its idle and everything right now. But the funny thing is I'm getting very minimal. Like before I wasn't getting any knock. I just did a pull like a little bit ago and over boosted a bit. But and it knocked at like negative 1.05, but I was getting a little more knock before I did what I did with the car today, which is the turbo inlet and the coupler. So she seems to be running pretty good right now. So I do have a Boomba bypass valve, but it's pretty cool at like very, very low boost. When you let off the gas with the Perrin turbo inlet, it almost sounds like compressor surge. I would say it's not, because I'm pretty sure it's not, but it's basically the silicone, you know, giving and then coming back, giving, coming back, so kind of like a wave almost. Is my guess, but it sounds really cool. The windows are down right now, so I'm sorry if it's really hard to hear me or not. I'm gonna see if I can get a sound clip here. I'm in town. If I can't right now, I will another time, but it does sound pretty interesting, so let's see if I can get going slow enough. We'll see. Doing it. I don't understand it. Yeah, it's probably gonna be really hard to hear regardless, because I am straight pipe turbo back. But take my word for it, it sounds pretty cool. So anyways, that's that. I guess I'll be ordering a new turbo at some point in time. Don't really know when, to be honest. The car's running good, and my numbers that I'm getting on my anxiety port seem to be perfectly fine as well. So yeah, I don't know, I might just run with it for a bit. I don't drive this car every day. This is literally a weekend car for me. Sometimes I drive it during the week, but like if I do, it's just to go run a very minor errand. So we'll see what happens from here, and like I said, I will be ordering a new turbo at some point in time, because I am trying to get out to California to go visit some friends and family soon. So, and I want the car to be reliable, and it's not going to be reliable with a leaky turbo with some chipped fins and some turbo play. What the? That was not something you see in town. Anyways, that was just weird. Weird person. People these days. Interesting. So anyways, that's that. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I know it's kind of all over the place. I really wish I could have made it a little more detailed, but I just really wanted to get it done. And working at on my car at my apartment complex under my carport, it's not the easiest, unfortunately, sometimes, but I make it work. So it is what it is. We'll see where we go from here, and stay tuned for the next video. We'll catch you later. Bye.